Good morning, and you're on the Get Busy Livin Podcast, and we have a wonderful guest this morning, Alexandra Quinn. But first of all, I'm Dr. Scott from Six Sense Acupuncture and also the Healthy Habits Club. And as I said, thank you so much, Alex, for joining us this morning, giving us your time. We appreciate that, and obviously the goal that you're going to give us in the next 45 minutes to an hour. So I'll start off by, Alex, tell us what gets you out of bed every morning.
The passion to help people to improve the quality of their life by changing the way they think, they're changing the way they see this world using the mental faculties they have.
Yes, mindset is very important. I totally agree with you. For me, it's all about helping the community, and that's what it sounds like. It's what you're trying to achieve as well, especially changing the way that people think. But Alex, so tell us. I can see on your LinkedIn profile that you're a business transformation coach, and you're also a PGI consultant. So tell us about that. What's a PGI consultant?
So PGI consultant is a Proctor Gallagher consultant. So I deliver and facilitate Bob Proctor's coaching programs. It's a privilege to be able to carry forward the legendaries' work to help people to improve the quality of their life through knowing their mind and how the mind works. And also, I'm a dual certified by Donald Miller as well for the business made simple, to help people to have the proven plan and strategies to grow their business systematically.
Okay, so what does the PGI stand for again?
Proctor Gallagher consultant.
So Proctor Gallagher, he obviously created the system. Is that right?
Proctor stands for Bob Proctor, and Gallagher is his business partner, Sandy Gallagher. And so they come together and they provided Proctor Gallagher Institute, where to help people to continue to understand the power of their mind by carrying forward Bob Proctor's philosophy and the thinkings, and the paradigm shift has been influential globally. And he was featured in the movie The Secret and Think and Grow Rich as well.
Oh, right, yeah. Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, I see they've created a movie from the book. It's Napoleon Hill's book, is that right?
Correct. And it's very holistic. And I know you're in the Health Hub and your audiences are all here for the health. And I think it's very relevant to look after our mental health as well. So it's by tapping into the power of our mind and being healthy from within, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, by what you put in your mouth every single day. So I think it's a holistic way of being health and well-beings.
Yeah. That we'll get into that's one of the last questions. But we'll stick with the second question. So you're also a speaker. So tell us about that. Have you spoken at some big venues before?
Yes, I'm a speaker. So I am actually about to have some big news about authoring, because I'm involved in 2 books now. It's about to published in probably later this year and early next year. One book is going to publish probably November. The other book is going to publish next year, February. So though I'm in those books, there's some big names in there. I'm not quite sure I'm actually allowed to announce them right now because it's in the midst of production. I will be writing about the inner leaderships, and I'm part of the professional speakers associations, and I'm getting the message out there with some amazing people in the industry as well. So yeah, I speak on the topic about inner leaderships. I speak on the topic about resilience in change, and I speak about the paradigm shifts to help people to understand how do they break the pattern, break the thinking pattern that kept them stuck in a certain way. Like Albert Einstein said, you can't solve a problem with the same thinking that created the problem at the very first place. And majority of those paradigm, the habitual way of thinking, was not planted by yourself. You didn't get the choice when you were a baby, but those ideas were planted in you by your environment, by the people around you. And maybe like Scott, you love to talk about the food, what the food you put into your body. Those are the habits. And we didn't get to choose to love hamburgers, for example. But we got planted those ideas when we were little because that's environment that we grew up from. And people just love having hamburgers because everybody else having hamburgers because they're time poor, and so they just need to get fed, eat fast, and so make something that lasts long. So that's all the habitual way of being and doing that's being planted in our subconscious mind. And when we go to a restaurant, yes, you know that you need to have more healthier choices, but when you look at the menu, you just habitually go to whatever that you've been programmed to eat. And so that's why I was born and raised in China, so my eating habit is very different. When I came to Australia, I couldn't eat all those stuff. It would just make my stomach hurt, and it caused health problems. And but that's because I've been programmed in a certain way. My parents love to, not that they love to eat congee, right? The congee is like the broth of
Yeah, porridge, rice porridge,
porridge, right?
rice porridge. Yeah.
It's not because they love to eat that. There's not much nutrition in there. There's not much left in there because they grew up in poverty. They just have a whole big pot and they have a few grains of rice and feed the whole family of 8. And what they have to do is just, this is all the few grains of rice that we have. So they put a whole bunch of water and everyone have a little bowl of soup, just pretty much just rice soup, right? Disgusting. But that's how they eat, right? That's how they program because of the condition and environment. They love to eat that. And so I've been programmed to every breakfast I eat congee. So there's some habitual way of doing. And when I came to Australia and I need to change all those habits, I don't have the time to make the congee in the morning. So I have to learn to eat toast. And when I took my parents-in-law, my father-in-law to China, and he had this I was enjoying my life. I having these noodles, I have this variety of amazing breakfast, healthy breakfast. I have veggie, I have congee, I have everything I love. I used to program, love, right? But my father-in-law was looking everywhere for his toast, and he couldn't find it for the whole 10 days long trip. He couldn't find the toast. So that is like our habits. So I love talking about habits and how we have been programmed subconsciously.
Actually, talking at congee, I joined a herbal group here in Brisbane, and I told them I'm going to make some congee for them, some chicken congee, and they're like, "What? What's congee?" So it should be different for them. But I respect that, Alex, that you grew up in the farmland. I didn't do it for a long time, but I did grow up on a dairy farm for a fair few months. And I get it. Yeah, you're living off the land, which I loved a lot. It's a very great, it's an awesome lifestyle, fantastic lifestyle. You're in nature all the time and you're eating natural foods consistently. And like you said, hamburgers are not natural. they're highly processed. And I mean, that's just the beginning. You walk into an aisle but yeah, you're exactly right. But this this is pertinent. Why I bring that up is because it's pertinent in business too. Because we're it's the same for businesses. And this is analogy. This is why I got a business coach, is because athletes is a perfect. So because I played sport, I'm Australian, so we're all sport billies in Australia. Well, most of us, not all of us, but most of us are sport billies. Play a lot of sport when we're young. So we always had a coach. Didn't matter what sport you did, you always had a coach. And it was brought to my attention, if you got a business, you need a coach. If you played sport with a coach, you're going to need it in every part of your life, not only in sport, but also in business, but also in health, and the list goes on. So
Absolutely.
I commend the contribution you're giving to the community, and I think that more business owners should open their eyes, and because I mean the numbers aren't good. The numbers aren't good for longevity of businesses. Most of them crash in the first 12 months. I think it's something ridiculous.
Yeah,
Beyond 10
50%.
years.
Yeah, 50% of the business fail in the first 5 years. And that is horrific number. And I often refer coaches as the mirror, because if you can see your own nose, then you don't need a mirror. But because you cannot see your own blind spot, that's why you need a mirror no matter where you are at. And that the mirror just bringing so much value to be able to see your own blind spots. If you keep thinking about the same thing over and over again, then you're going to make the decision over and over again the same way, and then you get the same result. And that's what Albert Einstein said, that's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So that's why, in order for you to have a different results, first and foremost is to be able to see your own thinking and be able to change your own thinking. Well, that's very easy when you know, because we all have the six intellectual faculty that's gifted to us as a human being to distinguish us from the animal kingdoms. For example, reason is our ability to think. Memories, we have past memories. We've been very proficient in using those past memories. But what about future memories? Have you heard about that? How do you create a future memories, right? Imagination, intuition, will, and perception. Those are the six intellectual faculties that being gifted to us as a human being, but we just not being able to utilize it. We think the thought that's suggested to us instead of intentionally, consciously think the thought that we wanted to think. Just like Napoleon Hill said not Napoleon Hill, but The Science of Getting Rich. It says, to think the thought that you wanted to think, it's the most laborious work in the whole wide world.
Say it again. The most.
To think the thought that you wanted to think, it's the most laborious work in this whole wide world.
I totally agree. So yeah, okay. So so tell us how do we get our mindset to change as business owners? Because I'm sure you're dealing with this a lot.
Yes. So here I wanted to share a story. Is it okay to share a story of my clients?
Yes. I was going to wait till later, but yeah, chuck them at me now. Why not?
So I just wanted to share my client Rose, her story. When she came to me, she's already 69 years young. And she's been stuck in a environment that she's not happy with, that has been draining her energy, but she's been programmed to live in that environment for over 10 years, and she couldn't know how else can I do it. Like, how many business owners can you resonate that you have this business, you're running it, you get it started, and then it's been running smoothly, and for 10 years there's no growth, for 10 years or even more, that is stuck and just keep hitting the plateau. You try different strategies, marketing, and keep throwing spaghetti on the wall and hope it stick, and it just keep hitting the same plateau. She was similar situation like that. When she came to me, she said, "I am 69. I am not getting any younger. It's my time to. I need to do something to change it. But I don't know how, and I don't know what." How many of you can resonate with that, right? So when you
Yeah.
ask me, Scott, that you say, "Well, how do we change?" Here is how she did it, right? Within 2 months, she turned her monthly income into weekly income. Just that fast. But she need to change herself first. First of all, she need to change her goal. She need to get clear on her goal. How many of the business owners out there thinking about 5 to 10% increases are really good? Yes, that's exactly what kept you stuck. I used to be an auditor. Yes, Adele, you hear it this all the time. Yes, I used to be an auditor, and I look into a company and I was like 5 to 10% increases are normal, and it's within common sense. Okay. But then when I worked with Rose, she said, "I really want to make major shift." I said, "How big you want to make your major shift?" She said, "As big as possible. I wanted to turn my annual income into monthly income." I was like, "Awesome. Turn your annual income into monthly income. That is 12 times of increase." As an ordinary thinking, you would be like so scared. You'd be like, "No, that's not possible." But she gave herself the permission to dream big. Yes, 2 months down the track, she didn't turn her annual income into monthly income. But without her thinking to turn her annual income into monthly income, she would not even reach to turn her monthly into weekly. So that is where you need to stretch your goal. That is number one. Number two, you need to give yourself the permission to change you. You have a perception of yourself, what we call a self-image. There's a two self-image. One is the self-image you project to the world and how you show up in the world. And there's another image lived within you. And there's only one person on this planet has the power to see that version of you. That is you. Exactly. Only you have the power to see the inner self, you. And that is called internal self image. And on this planet, no one can try harder to outperform the self image they hold within them. You just can't. But you have the power, only you have the power to be able to change how you see yourself internally. But the problem is, in our traditional education, we have never been taught how to change the internal image we hold within us. And so the second step for Rose to make that major shift is to learn these steps to reprogram herself and to see herself differently, change her inner self image. Like Tony Robbins, he was big guy and wasn't eating healthy, kicked out of, have no money to pay for the education. He was pretty, you know, pretty sad place, right? He was at a very sad place, and that is one set of image. In order, then he learned from Jim Rohn how to change himself. He reprogrammed. He did that over, and through the repetition, he changed how he see himself. And even to today, when he get on the stage, he need to reprogram himself over and over again. And so that is a possibility. I think that's a good news, and that's a very inspiring news. It's like, if that works for somebody else, it's going to work for you. And I've helped people to change the internal image. That is the thermostat for all the results that you're creating in this world. So that is the second step. The third step is the belief system. Belief has two levels, one at the conscious level and one at the subconscious level. Quite often, most of us experience the conflict between your conscious belief and your subconscious belief. For example, Lady Gaga, she is amazing externally, right? She's very successful. She's a songwriter, she's celebrity, she's an actress. Everyone loved her, right? But she also struggled with her internal image, internal beliefs of her, how she see herself and how she believe herself abilities. So she was very vocal about her struggle with self-esteem and with her struggle with her beliefs and with her mental status. And when we are not in alignment between our conscious belief and subconscious belief, it causes a lot of internal conflicts. And that's why a lot of people experience anxiety, depressions, and these conflicts and procrastinations. All that is because of the misalignment of our belief system. So the third thing Rose did is to change her subconscious belief system. She need to look really, really hard of how she was programmed when she grew up in that subconscious belief, underlayer belief system. And then when you teach her techniques so that she have the skill set to be able to change her subconscious belief to be in alignment with her conscious belief. And that is, I think that's the three major steps to be able to bring alignment and create those quantum leaps in those in your business as well.
So, what were the 3 steps again? What were the
Number
steps?
one, dream big, achieve. Like you
Yep.
can only dream big, right? Have a
Yep.
clarity around your goal, have a bigger goal than a common sense. Step number two is change your self image because
Yep.
that's your thermostat. And step number three is about changing your subconscious belief system to be in alignment with who you want it to be and the result that you want it to have.
Yeah, that's yeah, that's helped me a lot. I agree, definitely agree that like I do affirmations every morning. I have a audio affirmation. I also have a video affirmation that I listen to every morning. And I listen to it. It goes for 7 minutes. I listen to it 3 times. So I try and get it up to the 30-minute mark. I usually go over, but yeah, and it is true. Uh, if you, especially if you write down what your dreams are, and that's the hardest bit. Yeah, that's the hardest bit is to acknowledge that you have dreams because we're not taught that. We were never ever taught that at school. We're never ever taught uh, to create a dream and to fixate on it, fixate, to concentrate on. So, and that's that third step that you were talking about. That's the hardest bit because we were conditioned in a different way. We're conditioned not to think that way, which is yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And I think for your audiences really into the health space, I think that self-image is going to help them a lot because the self-image, not only the qualities and how you show up and the energy behind you showing up for a particular situation, but also how you see yourself. For example, if someone has always been seen as chubby, and that they see their own image as being chubby, and that they if they lose, well, I would say release the weight, but they if they lose weight, they find them back, right? It's because
Yeah,
that image, the internal image, they associate themselves with the word of chubby. And so
yeah,
that is how they see themselves. If they are not chubby, then they was like, this is not me. And I need to find something to make myself chubby again because that feels like me.
yeah, yeah. I was going to say that is an internal battle that we have with ourselves because we're told by our parents as well. And I commend all business owners. I commend them all because the reason being is because we're told from an early age by school, and we're also told by our parents, go out, get a job, go out and get a job, pay your taxes, and pay your debts. But we're never told, well, you've got a great idea. Why don't you go out and um, give it to the community and get them to pay you back for it? We're not told that. So we got to try and break that mentality of we're going to go and work for someone else so we can create their dreams because that's really what we're doing.
It's scary and it's risky. And that's why only 3% of the population will choose that path. And
Yeah.
97% of the population will choose the safe path, which we've been
Yeah.
programmed to do. It's, get a job, get good grade so that you can get to
Yep.
university. Once you get your piece of paper, then you can find a job and you have,
Yes. Yep.
then you get married, you have kids, and then you can
Yep.
see the end of your life. And that will what I have been programmed. That's my dream.
Yes.
My parents want me to become an accountant, and because that's a stable paycheck.
Yep.
She wouldn't like a girl to be out there selling, a girl to be out there doing business. Right? That doesn't
Yep.
align with their image of me. And so I've been lived in their image for long time, very long time, like decades
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. What cracks me up, this is funny, this makes me laugh a lot, is we go to business school. This is a classic. They want us all to go to business school. You have to go to business school. But then when you talk to the teachers, they've never owned a business. Because at the end of the day, the teacher is just an employee as well. So they want us to be business owners and learn commerce from someone who's employed. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it takes courage and it takes different set of
Yeah.
acceptance of risk. And I love Bob Proctor said this word, and it really hit my heart when I was looking for solutions because I wasn't happy in the work in the job that I was in, right? And I was looking for solutions, and he was like, so many people tiptoe through their life so safe and
Yeah.
hope they safely make it to death.
Yes. This, this, I
And
like the saying. I can't remember who said it. It's either you start making steps for your own dreams, or you'll start making steps for someone else's dreams.
yeah, and it was like perfect portrait of myself,
Yeah.
that playing so safe, everything just like, oh my gosh, it's that you I was a auditor, I was an accountant, so I look at everything, analysis, the pros and cons, and what the data history, I do all the analytical thinkings, and then make my decision. That's how I have been programmed. But when you look at the successful people, they don't do that. They just go with the guts. They think it's the right thing to do. Their guts tell them it's the right thing to do. They just go
Yeah.
forth with it. And they make decision within milliseconds rather than doing all this analysis, take weeks and days and months even to make a decision.
Yeah. Well, and that comes back to that conditioning that we're told, and it's very difficult to change what our parents told us. It's very difficult. So, yeah, I understand. I get it. And that's why you were saying 97% of the population won't uh, do the safety things. They do the safe stuff, get the job, do create someone else's dream, and that's because of what we're taught from an early age. Yeah, I get it very much so.
And there's a opportunity is that you can create whatever you want to do. And
Yeah.
when you learn to master your mind to think the thoughts that you wanted to think rather than think the thoughts someone else expect you to think, or the thoughts that suggested to you. And I love this saying, this research from the Harvard University, is that people pay twice as much attention to the negative than the positive. So that's our thinking condition as well, because we've been programmed. When we get a mark, or like we got a 90, when I was little, when I got 98% in my exams, I would go to my dad and was like, yeah, dad, like, look, I got 98%. And I was like so happy and so proud of myself. All of a sudden he looked at me, he was like, where is the 2%? Why can you not do better with that 2%? And I was like, oh gosh, okay, yeah, I can do better. You're right. And so I went back and looked at all the mistakes I made in that
Yeah, yeah,
exam, and then work on those mistakes, and then so I can get better next time. So we have been programmed to look for the mistakes so that
Yeah.
next time we can do better. And now over the time that we have been programmed to pay twice as much attention to the negative, to keep us survive, to keep us just to get through the schools, to get through the jobs, whatever that may be. And so we've been paid twice as much attention to the negative than to the positive, because we're not programmed to celebrate our success. We're not programmed to
No,
celebrate our wins.
no, and that comes back to that second part that you're talking about, pretty much loving yourself and having what do you call it? Positive thought, positive speech, because that's very important too. Yeah, that language to yourself is very important.
Yeah. So that is exactly what you said, right, Scott? That my client Rose, she worked on giving herself the permission to think
Yeah,
bigger, and then giving herself the permission to become more loving to herself, giving herself the permission to letting go of those beliefs that does not serve her at this present moment anymore. So a lot of things, it's about being in alignment of yourself, is leading from within. Why is this so important? Because when you in my book, I'm going to write the models. Like one circle is about you, and the other circle is about others. And so you wanted to lead others. In connection between that is your thinking, because we are in this thought world. We don't get to not think. We go through 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. So we are communicating through these thoughts. When you understand yourself and be more compassionate about yourself, to know about yourself, then alignment, you be mastering your thinking, learn how to think the thought that you wanted to think, then you have an authentic relationship with yourself. When you have that thinking and you be able to influence others with the thinking, then you have a influential relationship with others. But when you and you others without the thinking communications, you only have a superficial relationship with another person. You don't have this deeper understanding or deeper communication with the other person. It was just like, I know you, you know me. I was like a LinkedIn with just a connection. It's a very superficial level of relationship. So in order for us to be able to lead others to do the thing that we want them to do and to benefit your organization, then we need to develop this inner leadership. And this inner leadership comes from you, and that you have 100% control over that part of that. So the good news is no one get to think your thoughts. Thank God.
Yes, that's actually that's part of my healthy habits, the 10-week detox challenge. That's actually one of my I do a video on that, on how you need to be the leader in your household. You have
Yes.
to be the leader. If you don't, you'll just go back to the old bad habits that everyone else is doing, and you have to be the one that shows them, especially when you're losing weight, you're feeling better, you look great, your energy's through the roof. Then the others will be like, whoa, what's going on here? Their discipline is just unbelievable, and that's exemplary, and that's the actions of a leader. And that's why I say you need to be the leader in your household. You need to be the leader in the kitchen. You need to be the leader in your pantry or cupboards, because if you don't, then you'll just go back to how you were. And 98% of all people, this is a stat for everyone, 98% of all people who lose weight put it back on in the next 12 months and more. The statistics say that they put it back on even more. So they
Yeah,
get even bigger.
exactly. Yeah, because the number, like what you said, is a habit. We are human being. We are creator of habit. If there's no habit, we
Yeah.
create the habit. And so
Mhm.
it's what you said. I love the word of discipline. What is discipline? Discipline is that you cause yourself to do a certain thing and you stick with it. And so, for example, when you go to the aisle, there's a big, aisle of ice creams, and you need to be able to discipline yourself to make a different choices right there and then. And also, it's to do with the self-image. It's so true because they go through the strict diet, but they haven't mastered the skill set of changing how they see themselves. So whatever the weight they lost, they found them back and put on more. And that
Yeah.
is, it's because they haven't subconsciously changed how they see themselves. They always see that body, it's that label as chubby. That is how they see themselves, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah, and that's it. Well, that's right. And you need to love who's in the mirror. If you don't love who's in the mirror, then they're not going to get any better. They're just going to get worse, and like you said, we just go back into that fear, that basic fear tactics, and then we procrastinate, and then we go into what do you call it till we die.
Safely
The
make it to
safety,
death.
safety till we die, safely till we die.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely. I think that it's just really the self image is crucial in the process of releasing weight. I One of the techniques I've learned is that you pick a picture of your best shape, and
yes,
then you make it like a human size, and you put that version of you in your kitchen every single day. You're seeing that the the best shaped version of yourself until your subconscious mind get used to seeing that, and that you will start to become that person, and you will live that. Oh, and so it's kind of like a, because our subconscious mind cannot tell what it's real and what's imagined. So in the mind
yeah,
game, a lot of time we use the mental faculty called imagination to our advantage. To You could create a Canva image of the best shape of you and put your image on it and print it out in a regular person size and put it in your kitchen. And so that is part of that, to get your subconscious mind get used to seeing the newer version of yourself in this physical form. Eh, that will because your mind cannot tell what's imagined and what's real, and as long as you can trick your subconscious mind to believe in that version of yourself, it will just make it a lot easier for yourself
yeah,
to in
yeah.
the weight loss period.
Yeah, so that's they use that in trial. That's why, it cross exam. What do you call it? In trials, like criminal trials, they usually the prosecution normally, not always, but it can be the defense. They'll try and use questioning to trick the witness into either be confused or or uh, not recalling everything that actually happened.
Mm,
So that that's very true, because sometimes when we think something is absolute, it doesn't always mean that it's what we actually saw, and they use that a lot in trial, criminal cases, I should say.
mm.
So that's very interesting. That's interesting you brought that up. I'm just reading about that now, actually, and listening to audios about it.
Yeah. It's very powerful. Your subconscious mind is very, very powerful. And that's where the potential lies, because your
Yeah,
consciousness, you only go through your day, 2 to 4% of your day are conscious behavior, and 96 to 98% of your daily behavior actually subconscious. You don't know, you just speak the way that you always been speaking. You just always walk the way that you always walk. That is subconscious behavior. And that's why now there's a big calling for conscious living.
Yeah. So yes, that's exactly right. So actually, we'll go on to uh, some more testimonials. So tell us some other clients that you've had success with their business.
Yeah, so I haven't, like, all my clients on average, they pretty much like double their revenue in less than 12 months. So some of my clients turn their annual income into monthly income because they allow themselves to dream bigger, and some 4 or 5 times the income in less than 6 months. Some of them just really depends, and everyone's coming from different place, and how quickly can you implement. It's not always about the knowledge, it's really about the implementation of that knowledge. Like Napoleon Hill says,
Yeah.
knowledge, it's not power on its own, but applied knowledge,
Yes.
it's the real power. So for business owners, I know your schedule is so full, time is a constraint for you. That's why you need to be more consciously how you spend the time in applying the knowledge that you are learning, rather than try to do more tactics, try more do more strategies to learn to know more. There's a massive gap between what you know and what you actually do, because what you know, it's a conscious behavior, but what you actually do is controlled by your subconscious mind. And in this world, in our business school, we didn't learn how to close the gap between knowing and doing, because they are controlled by different parts of our mind. And no one actually taught us how to do that. So when I start to close the knowing and doing gap for my clients, that's when they start to see major shift in the results. I have clients, she I think she's 3 times her sales in 6 weeks. So everyone is different, and it's just really about how quickly you can start to learn to apply this knowledge into your business.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. I was guilty of that as well. I knew everything. I knew all about how to lose weight, and I knew all the tricks, and I never implemented it myself. I had all this knowledge. It was useless for me. It was useless because I didn't implement it. Now I've implemented it, and I've lost a heap of weight. So yeah, I get it. It's knowledge is useless if unless you apply it.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
yeah.
Totally agree. So tell us another story of a client that you've helped in the
Well, I
business realm.
in the business realm, especially in sales, in mindset is the key. And so I have one of my clients had no sales experience before. He came to me. He was like, I always wanted to have be a real estate investor. You buy a home and then you sell it, and then you like buy, what's it called, fix and flipped, right? That's the term, fix
Yeah,
and flip,
yeah, yeah.
right? And so he always wanted to do this, but his parents want him to be have a stable job and do IT programming, because it's high paid job in the, with AI, with everything's going on in the world. IT seems to be the top paid job, right? So he followed his parents' advice and got into IT programming, earning pretty decent salary. But he always had these dreams to be an investor, to do this fix and flip. But he was so scared of changing the identity from an IT programmer to a real estate investor. And when he came to me, he was like, I'm just so sick and tired of being standing behind my desk looking this programming is so boring. I wanted to go out in the field and talk to people and do this, looking at these houses. I wanted to do that. I said, what's stopping you? And he was like, I'm so scared. I'm so fearful. I just don't know the how. And so we begin to work together. And the first step for him to get used to this image of being in real estate, he quit his IT job and he went into being a sales agent, a real estate sales agent, to start to get used to seeing these houses and seeing this, be in the field, get his shoes wet, right? And so he began to do that, but it was very scary because when you're doing IT programming, you have a fixed salary. It comes in every single month, no matter what. But when you go
Yeah.
into a sales agent, you don't have that anymore. You are on commission basis. And you were just so scared. I never done sales. He never done sales before. He was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do it. But I give him all the mental tools, how to overcome the fears, but he has to execute it. And I hope that's why we have weekly coaching programs, because 1 week can change a lot. And he stepped through it and he did that. And for him to be able to get to a real estate investor stage doing the fix and flip, have those knowledge and the fundings to do that, it was, for him, it was a 10-year plan. It was a 10-year plan. Well, do this and do this and do that. Then I will be get to that. You have a 10-year plan. But when he started to work with and walking through all his mental blocks and also the limiting beliefs, he realized that was his limiting belief, that he limit himself to achieve that in 10 years. And I challenged him, would you love it this year? And he was, absolutely, I've been looking forward to it. And along the journey, he, first of all, he 4 times his income from his IT programming job. He 4 times his income in the real estate agency, like rental market. And he did that, he 4 times his income. And so become a top sales in his company, from no selling experience to top sales, just within 5 months, he 4 times his income. And then within 6 months, he completed his first fix and flip deal. Just because he break through the barrier of his limiting thinking that it's a 10-year plan. But we did that within 6 months to achieve his dream of doing this fix and flip. And not long after that, we finished our coaching program in 6 months. And after we finished that program, he texted me a message with a screenshot. He made over $100,000 in a month.
Wow.
Would you believe that? It's just so effortlessly.
Yeah.
And why would you squeeze your potential into a long 10-year plan? Well, wouldn't you love it to achieve that within a year? And so I just wanted to celebrate him because he did hard work. He did all the hard work, overcoming his own mental blocks in order for him to achieve 100K in a month.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty cool. All right. So we'll move into the latter stages of the podcast, and I'll ask the last 2 questions. So tell us, who's your ideal client or avatar? Please, Alex.
Business owners who wanted to grow the business substantially, who wanted to break the status quo, no longer happy with that, plateau, and putting up with what is just good. And when you hit a plateau, that's because your thinking hit a plateau. You've been running the same thinking over and over again. In order for you to change your results substantially, you need to change your thinking. And that's where the quantum leaps happens, in the mind space and in mastering your own thinkings. So my ideal clients will be business owners who hit plateaus, trying all the hard things and still not having the breakthrough. And also some service-based business owners who honor investing in their teams, because a lot of the business now facing the employee challenge, they value the biggest asset of their business is actually the employees, is the people who providing the services to their clients. And in order to maintain their clients or grow their business, they need to invest in their people to get the most out of their people and to help their employees to show up as the best version of themselves in the business. So those are the two type of people, like, either you invest in yourself or invest in your team, because your team is the biggest assets, not your client list, not your database, not anything else, but it's actually when you be able to tap into the 90% of the potential in your employees. That's where you be able to leverage their potential, be able to grow your business 10 times.
Sounds awesome. So I'll walk. I'll go through the last question. So tell us, Alex, how do we? What ideas or methods would you use to produce lifelong longevity?
You gotta keep your mind active. Of course, you eat healthy, and also really look at your health as 3 dimensions. Like you have you're a spiritual being and live in a physical world. So you got to look after your own mental health, emotional health, physical health, as a whole body, and spirituality as well. So it's really holistic way of looking after your own health.
That's pretty good advice. That's pretty awesome advice. Thanks very much, Alex. It's been we appreciate your time this morning, and thank you for the gold nuggets that you've given us. And if you could leave your details on my platform, so I've got it on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and also any of your platforms, we could put those details on there as well for you. We can give you those links as well, so you can advertise them. So thank you very much, Alex, for your time. We appreciate that you took close to an hour, 52 minutes. Well done, Alex. And here you're worried about you won't be able to talk much. Look at you go. So thanks, Alex, for coming on. Is it called Dream Warriors Coaching?
Yeah, Dream Warriors Coaching, because I just want you guys to be the warrior of your dreams. It's going to be obstacles and challenges in the way. Be more resilient and be the warriors of your dreams. Thank you for having me, Scott. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Alex. And you're watching the Get Busy Livin podcast with the lovely Alex Quinn. And I'm Dr. Scott from 6th Sense Acupuncture and the Healthy Habits Club. And we'll see you next Thursday. See you guys.